right, guys, we are here. Dragon Ball Daima is here. Finally, a continuation of Dragon Ball. It's been since 2018 when the Dragon Ball Super anime was actually kind of like done. We've had a couple of movies, but it's great to have a weekly show again. Now, I was going to do a review of episode 1, but I just kind of like it's just how I am, right? Oh yeah, I'm going to do it, and then all of a sudden it's, 2 years later. I don't know. So, episode 2 did just come out. So I've watched both episodes, and I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on Daima so far. And I've seen a couple of things that's gotten a lot of discussion out of the community, right? So I do want to kind of talk about some of this stuff. The first thing I'd say is that Dragon Ball Daima just looks really good. It is, hilarious, I guess, to go look at how bad Dragon Ball Super looks. There are key moments that do look pretty good, of course, but for the most part, the lion's share of Dragon Ball Super did just look really bad. Now, I believe that was mostly because of the very bad production at the start, and it was kind of like fast-tracked, and they never really got ahead, and then it just kind of became a mess pretty much the whole way throughout. Daima is clearly something that they've been working on for quite some time, and they have, all their ducks lined up, and it just looks really good. Like, the presentation, the anime, like movement is fluid. It all just looks super good. So that's definitely nice that we have super good looking Dragon Ball that we're going to be able to get every single week. I definitely like that. Now, the first episode, right, mostly starts out with the huge kind of like recap, mostly of the Majin Buu saga. It is important, though, to kind of set up the fact that this is like a direct continuation from the Buu saga, right? So the context of a lot of the major events in the Buu saga is sort of important to have there. So like I sort of get that. We have the new characters, right? Kind of like I don't know if we want to call it like the evil Supreme Kai, but it's the Supreme Kai from Dragon Ball Z, his younger brother, and then the Demon King, what is it, Goma? There seems like interesting characters for now, for sure. Then, of course, we have the absolute baddie. Ooh! Scientist. Damn, she looks good. I've already seen, not to use a naughty word, but chat between you and me, I've seen a lot of hentai of her already on the timeline. People were very excited. The second there's a new fine girl in one of these animes, people, they get to going real fast, right? So, kind of the whole thing is, again, this is like a direct continuation of the Buu saga, basically. So this is before Battle of Gods, before anything in Dragon Ball Super, even before, like Dragon Ball GT might have been. Although Daima does seem so far to kind of be like it's got similarities to GT for sure. Well, even like in episode 2, right, we get the actual like opening and ending. And man, I don't know. Like the GT vibes are just so heavy, in particular in the opening and ending. I thought it's like, whoa, dude. Like it really hit me. I don't know how else to describe it besides just I really got the vibe of GT coming from it. Now, I do, at the same time, kind of like the fact that we are just continuing right from the Buu saga, because it kind of becomes, it's not just like a random thing just happens and all of a sudden we've got like a new story. It's a continuation of what's already happened, which I think is really good, right? Like, it's not just some random event. Like, I don't know, just as an example, not that I'm saying it's bad or negative or anything like that, but, in Dragon Ball, like, Goku fights Piccolo, the tournament ends, and then kind of the next thing, just that spaceship just lands out of the sky, right? And it's, here's Raditz. I guess, you could say the Buu saga kind of started the same way, right? Fair. But this being like, Deborah from the demon realm was there in the Buu saga, and then that leads directly to everything that's happening in Daima, right? So I do like that, and I do like exploring the demon realm. It's already, we've been given a lot of lore related to it, right? Where they talk about most characters with pointy ears originated from the demon realm, which is interesting. It's like Namekians are demons, which, Demon King Piccolo, if you've never watched Dragon Ball, like when Demon King Piccolo is going crazy, it's something that they kind of just like gloss over and never go back to. But like Goku is told, I think it's by Karen, that like, oh, those killed by Demon King Piccolo, they're damned to like limbo in forever. Like their souls are trapped and tormented in between dimensions in limbo. And it's like, what, dude, what the hell? And that shit was kind of just like forgotten about very fast, by the way. But that's why it was so important for Goku to like, you know, take care of Demon King Piccolo and, you know, find a way to, you know, restore Shenron, you know, back in Dragon Ball era to be able to revive those killed by Demon King Piccolo so they weren't just like trapped in limbo forever. And Demon King Piccolo is running around talking about Demon Clan this and Demon Clan that so much. So I guess it's nice that they do kind of just like wrap it up like, oh yeah, Namekians are actually demons here in Daima. That's good. So Goma and what is Supreme Kai's brother's name? It's like Degasu or something like that. They take the final Namekian that's in the demon realm, which Piccolo later says is the legendary Namekian who stayed behind in the demon realm to protect the demon realm Dragon Balls, which they've got. They head to Earth to use the Earth's Dragon Balls to kind of keep Goku and the gang from being able to take down the demon realm. I mean, I guess it's kind of just like, oh, like, you know, they could attack us and then, you know, stuff would go off. Like, whatever, it's fine. And the way, it does feel very Toriyama that, like, this villain's idea of, like, how we could stop them is we'll just make them children again, right? Like, that, it does feel kind of very in line with, like, the OG Dragon Ball, like, style of doing things. There is another, like, there's a lot of little bits of lore. Like, the thing about Dragon Ball is, like, people, like, canon is, like, a super important thing to people. And, like, I don't know if it's specifically just Toriyama, who, I mean, he's in interviews, stuff like that, said that he forgets stuff a lot. And, I mean, we have, you know, things like Trunks in DBZ, you know, purple hair, and then Dragon Ball Super happens, and he just has blue hair. And it's not a thing of like, oh, now we're just going to pretend like Trunks always had blue hair, because Kid Trunks still has purple hair, but then, you know, Future Trunks has got the blue hair. So it's like, there's always lots of little things like this. One of them was Kibito and Supreme Kai. They are defused. They're no longer Kibito Kai, right? Which in Battle of Gods, in Dragon Ball Super, you know, they are actually Kibito Kai. So it does kind of start to really mess with kind of like canon and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, listen, I'll tell y'all this. They could have a million direct contradictory things to like Dragon Ball Super. Like, again, the Kibito Kai being defused, and then, you know, they say that, oh, it's not that there's a 5-minute time limit for, you know, mortals with the Potara rings or whatever. Well, it's 30 minutes, and it just became 5 minutes because of Vegeta Blue's power, right? But there's not like this like artificial time limit that, you know, was a thing in Dragon Ball Super. You know, in Daima, it's that Boo's body creates a gas that breaks down the fusion. So I guess they have Fat Boo absorb Kibito Kai, and then they kind of defuse inside of him, and then he spits him out, is what he says. Like, again, they can have a million contradictory things to Dragon Ball Super, but don't be shocked when, like, you know, some of these Daima characters just, like, show up. Like, the Dragon Ball Super manga is not done. Like, they're just gonna have these characters just showing up in, like, Dragon Ball Super, like, manga and stuff like that. And it's like, even though there's a million contradictory things, like, they kind of just don't care. Like, with, like, canon and stuff like that. Like, so, people are gonna be, I've already seen the arguments of, like, oh, Dragon Ball Super is not canon and stuff like that. I promise you, there's going to be a million contradictory things, and then they're just going to clash the worlds together, and it's just, that's going to be that, right? They are going to do that. Now, most of the first 2 episodes, it really is just kind of like the whole setup, right? There, again, there's a lot of little tidbits of lore. We get a lot of the recap of the Boo saga. You know, we get a lot of flashes of, you know, Ultimate Gohan, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. You know, there's talk of Goku and Vegeta versus Kid Boo, you know, like damaging Supreme Kai's original spaceship that I guess he used to leave the demon realm and come to, you know, Universe 7 or whatever. Oh, that's another thing, too. Like, Universe 7, that's a Dragon Ball Super thing, and that is in Daima, where when Goma and Degetsu, the other Supreme Kai, and then what's the Namekian's name? It's like Neva. So the three of them are traveling to, Universe 7, as it's said, which again is a thing from Dragon Ball Super. So, I mean, we already have kind of like the connectors and stuff like that. I don't know. At a certain point, like, I stopped really worrying too much about these types of things. I mean, Dragon Ball has so many inconsistencies and so much of this stuff. I mean, I understand why a lot of people are going to take it mega super serial, but it is definitely something that's going to drive you insane if you're looking too deeply into it, right? So they go to Kami's lookout. Neva is able to gather all the Dragon Balls, and he's able to revert them from stone into the regular Dragon Balls. They're able to make the wish, and there is actually another little bit of lore where Shenron, is supposed to give multiple wishes after Dende powers it up, but then in Daima episode 2, he tells Goma, like, that's just like a bonus for regulars. So he just gives one wish. I don't know. Is that maybe supposed to just be a reference to Dragon Ball Super Broly as well? Where Chi-Lai just makes the one wish to teleport Broly back to his home planet? Like, I'm not really super sure why they did that. I mean, there's a lot of different things, right? Like, even when Dragon Ball Super was airing, they constantly were throwing so many things out like that, and there would just be chaos. Like, when they did the Patara earring retcon, even I was very annoyed with it back then. But now, I feel like they're going to pull out a bunch of different other kind of, like, lore things like this, and it's just like, with Dragon Ball, man, you kind of gotta just rock with it, dude. Like, it really is just how it's gonna be. So, Goma makes his wish. Everyone reverts back into children. He says first graders, and then for those that are already children, they become babies. So, I mean, that's certainly an interesting little wish. And, I mean, kind of the episode progresses where they're trying to figure out a way to get to the demon realm, and then eventually, a new character, he's a demon, Glorio, shows up, and he takes Goku and Supreme Kai. They're going to go to the demon realm, and that's how that second episode ends. Funny enough, Glorio was shown at, New York Comic-Con, that he and Mini Vegeta are going to be, some of the first Daima DLC characters that are going to be coming to Sparking Zero. And we know that Mini Goku is already actually in Sparking Zero. So it's going to be interesting to see a lot of these characters. It'll be interesting to see how Glorio is going to fight and what some of his abilities are going to be and stuff like that. I mean, again, if he's coming to Sparking Zero soon, I'm sure he's going to have some extended battle sequences probably soon. Don't forget that there's also, the possibility that these characters, we're going to see them. I mean, there's all types of stuff. Kakarot is getting it. Xenoverse is getting it. Dokkan Legends. Daima is just like an avalanche into the whole Dragon Ball brand. So definitely excited to see where this goes. Next week, episode 3, they're going to be finally going to the demon realm. There is a mention that there's 3 demon worlds, and Glorio, he's, serving the king of the 3rd demon world. So we'll kind of like see how that's going to go. In terms of anything else notable I should mention, I mean, I did enjoy seeing a lot of the, Z fighters or Dragon fighters, whatever you want to call them, kind of like reverted to their younger forms, right? Like Piccolo and, Kibito and, Mr. Satan and stuff like that. It was kind of fun to see. Definitely looking forward to seeing more of the actual action. I feel like the series is probably going to lean a lot more into kind of like the adventure aspect of original Dragon Ball. But I'm definitely looking forward. I mean, I'm a meathead. I can't wait until we're going Super Saiyan and swapping hands with the Demon Kings. That's what your boy is looking for. But I certainly will be enjoying the adventure until then. So we'll see what's going to happen in the next episodes. There is one point it's mentioned that Big Titty Dr. What's her name? Anarasu, something like that? Yeah, Dr. Arinsu or something like that. They mention how she has actually been to Universe 7 before. They mention that, obviously Babidi and Deborah went there. So perhaps, she, like, if she's there, like no one has seen her, has any connection to her, nothing like that. Like Goku, Vegeta, any of the Z fighters. They do mention Gohan, at like kind of like the first introduction of a lot of the Z fighters there. And Goku just says that Gohan hasn't really been in contact much lately. Remember, this is supposed to be directly following the Buu saga, pretty close afterwards. So, we're talking about like Ultimate Gohan and territory, stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe Dr. Arinsu is like, meeting up with Gohan for something or some plan or something like that. We'll kind of see how things are going to progress. Let me know what you guys think of Daima, but so far I've really enjoyed it. I think like that kind of like the music, the animation, the smoothness, a lot of it just looks really good. Again, I'm a big meathead looking for the Super Saiyan battles. I know we'll get it, but that's definitely what I'm looking forward to. But at least kind of the adventure aspect, I think so far looks like it's going to be pretty good. I'm glad that Goku, Piccolo, and Vegeta are all going to be having a major role. Going into it, I wasn't super sure. Like, it seemed just from kind of what we'd seen, like, Supreme Kai, Goku, Glorio, and then there's another demon character who I think is going to be introduced soon. Seemed like they were kind of like the main focus, but I'm glad to see that Vegeta and Piccolo are actually kind of going to be like a huge... It makes sense, because at this point, Vegeta is almost just like ascended to almost like a dual main character status these days, right? Like all of this, like they are usually these days having Goku and Vegeta on pretty much equal playing field most of the time over the last several years, right? So glad that Vegeta and Piccolo are going to have a major role there. Let me know what you guys think. If episode 3 is very interesting, I'll drop a review for that, or maybe I'll just, let a couple of episodes build up if there's a lot for me to talk about. But I'm definitely excited for Daima to kind of revitalize Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, of course, is my absolute fave. Mwah! Definitely looking forward to seeing how things are going to pan out.